welcome back to Good Morning Sri Lanka. It's an amazing morning, as I said.
Yes,
Sam and I are having a wonderful time out here and talking about energy. I think I am having a diet these days.
You're on a diet?
Yes, I am.
No,
Thinking
what kind?
about
But
myself.
why, Banu? You're quite fit, you know. You
Not
seem
this
quite okay.
diet. Why are you always taking it word by word when I say diet? It's the energy diet. It's the theme for today, yeah? It's called energy, and that's why we're so energetic today.
Okay.
Yeah?
Yes.
Alright, so talk about the energy diet.
Yes.
Your thoughts about it.
The energy diet.
Yeah.
Well, it's a very interesting concept, but I'm also very curious about why exactly you're on an energy diet and how you're on an energy diet more than why you're on an energy diet. I can understand why, but how are you on an energy diet, Banu?
Well, so there are so many things we could just, talk about and say these are the things that I follow and these are the tips that I follow in going on an energy diet. And I think it's very important for audience to know as well what those basic points are.
Okay.
And we will reveal some of them, right?
We
now?
will,
Yeah.
we will.
We will. And you too.
Of course,
yeah.
because, well, everybody has to sort of cut down on their energy consumption, and what better way to slim down on all the energy that you use than being on a diet. Now, this is a bit of a crash course that you've been doing, like a crash diet, because you've been telling me a little bit about it. So
Yes.
let's discuss some of the things. Now, the first thing you said you did was that you've stopped using all the old electrical equipment in your house. The creaky fan, you've switched off and you're trying to do away with that and get a new one. And
I usually don't do it. Actually, it's my parents who do it. I am actually more of a computer freak out there. So what I do normally is I make sure that I always take the plug out after I use a particular appliance. For example, if I use a computer and afterwards, I normally, after shutting down my PC, I take it out.
I
Or
never do that. I always switch it. I mean, I switch everything off. I switch even the plug off because, well,
But you don't take it out of the socket.
I don't because it's switched off, right? So I presume, it's done. I can just switch it off.
Technically, it's switched off.
Yes.
But practically, when it comes on the bill, it doesn't.
No.
And that's the freaky part. So the tip is, over here, you always need to take it out. So once you just switch it off, you always need to take the plug out to ensure that there is no further bill which is going to be accumulated to your total cost.
All right.
Surprising, yeah?
That is surprising. I never thought that was possible. So what else have you been doing on your diet?
I've been doing my research.
Okay.
So yeah, of course, the other thing is when I talk about computers, is always necessary when you have a laptop, especially to make it go on sleep mode. Sometimes you just log in and then you go out, for example, to take a wash or to have your dinner or lunch,
Yeah,
and then
of
you
course.
don't come back for hours. So what happens normally is you normally plug into your charger and then your electricity bill further
Yeah,
goes
and
up.
everything's just running.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
what you need to do is to put it on sleep mode so that it will decrease by huge margin. So what happens normally is it doesn't.
And it's just a matter of just pressing a button, right? You just go there, you just put sleep mode on, and you're good to go, and your electricity bill is so much the better for it.
Right on. And taking a bicycle to work. It's one of my favorite ones. It's all about going green. And I think what we need to focus is on, number one, is actually it's good for your health, Sam. Right? When you take the bicycle out and then you jog a little and then, do a little bit of exercises and then go for a ride in your bicycle to work without taking your car.
That's a little difficult, I would say.
Depends on your distance.
Yes, depends on the distance and the road that you use as well, I think, right? But it's a brilliant idea. But imagine if on Gaul Road, instead of all of those vehicles, you just have cyclists. Just imagine that. Like that would be
an amazing
that would be
experience as well.
amazing. And also speaking of like the outer environment, right? We've been discussing electricity, so outer environment, the garden in someone's house. Now, how many of us have time to really cultivate a garden? And if you really take time to do a little bit of home gardening and have trees inside of your house, of course in the night you'll have to move them out, but still, to have trees around you is going to be so
There you go.
amazing. Exactly. And the paneling, you can see the paneling is done so well that there's so much ventilation in the inside of the house, and that reduces your need to have air conditioning, fans. There's enough and more ventilation for the house. Look at that, there's so much sunshine, there's natural lighting, you can
And
do
I
so
think
much
it's
during
very
the daytime.
important to work during the daylight most of the time.
Exactly, and that's the best type of light you can possibly have for your eyes and it's just, oh, that's so beautiful. And there's so much to do. Yeah, and there's so much air going around. You can really feel how light that must feel, and it's such a peaceful environment for a house.
So talking about the electricity, that's what we were talking about, mainly on energy and bills. We've got large issues on a macro level, yeah, what's going on in the country, and what does it mean from a futuristic perspective. So for that, we've got an incredible personality who I think is ideal for this show. So please welcome Mr. Asoka Begunawardena, who is the Executive Director of the Sri Lanka Energy Forum and an advisor
Please take
to the Minister of Power and Energy. Hello, sir.
Hello.
How are you?
Oh, fine, thanks.
Sam?
Hello, sir. Welcome to GMSL. It's a pleasure to have you, and this is a topic that has been discussed so widely, and everybody has so many questions. So we have a lot of questions that we want to ask you, so many things that we want to clarify with you. So our first question really is if you could tell us a little bit about the current energy policy in the country and give us a sort of outlay, a brief outlay, so that we can all understand what that is.
Yeah, actually, when you say energy, we are using that for a number of purposes. Electricity is one aspect of it. When you have the electricity at home, you can have any electrical appliance. And in the transport sector, you can identify that there are vehicles running. That should we have to use some fuel for that. And likewise in the industries, everywhere we need energy. Otherwise, I mean, it's not possible for us to live without energy.
That's true.
So the policy was actually, now first thing is we need to provide adequate quantities of energy for us to consume and have a sort of a decent life. That's first thing. And then we need to identify the ways and means of giving the energy at the least cost. Otherwise people will not in a position to afford for that. And thirdly, this has another impact. I mean, we now at present, whatever we use mainly comes from outside the country. We import oil mainly for transport sector and also for electricity generation. And in addition, now we are importing coal. So for that, from the national point of view, we need to identify substitutes for that. Otherwise, we will not.
Have we identified substitutes within our country? Everybody says we have so many great natural resources. So have we really identified things within the country that we can
Yes, actually, I mean, if you look at what's happening in the other countries, we were in the forefront of utilizing our own natural resources, mainly the hydropower. So we, I mean, about 2 decades back, almost 100% of our electricity was generated from hydropower.
What's the statistics like now?
Yes, now the situation has changed, because not because we are generating reduced amount of hydropower, but due to the increasing demand, we had to diversify our resources. And as a result, the government mainly pushed for I mean, not the government, the Ceylon Electricity Board pushed for going for coal power plants. And as coal power plants are not
renewable energy,
renewable, and it's not established on whenever the CEB plan to get, then they had to switch to oil. So both coal and oil are not our indigenous resources. We have to import, and both are dirty. You were discussing about clean energy. So what's clean and what's dirty? Clean energy, we call it renewables. Dirty energy, or the black energy, we call it fossil fuels. So fossil fuels means mainly oil, coal, and in the other countries we have gas as well. So moving away from fossil fuels towards clean energy is a policy direction of the country. For one reason, it's for the environmental reasons. On the other hand, it's our own resource.
So like for a household, what does it really mean to now there's been all these tariff hikes and all these things that have been happening surrounding the electricity bills and electricity in the country. Now for a household, all we know is that you get your energy. Nobody really knows whether it comes from the hydro or the coal plant or what it does. So can you tell us what exactly, like what 1 unit of electricity means and what this tariff hike translates to a common household?
Now during this year, the CEB is assuming that they are estimating that about 60% of our power will be generated from oil.
Okay,
And
60%.
yes.
When 2 years ago it was only 100%.
No, not 2 years.
100% from
No,
hydro.
No, not 2 years, 2 decades.
2
I said.
decades, 2 decades ago.
It's in the in mid 1990s.
Okay.
We were mainly rely on hydro.
Hydro.
Now this year we are expecting about 30 to 35% from hydro,
All right.
and 10% from coal,
Okay.
and the balance from oil.
Okay.
So it's now the energy mix has changed such a way that we are mainly using fossil fuels. So now depending on the rainfall of the year, this slightly get changed. So last year we had less rain, so we had to use more oil. This year we expect that we will get more rain, and so that this will be in the hydro will be about 35%.
Okay.
But the demand is growing.
Yes.
Because of that reason, the oil prices are increasing, and our exchange rate, the rupee get devalued.
Yes.
Because of all these reasons, electricity bills goes up.
That's true.
So because of the total cost of power generation goes up, so in order to meet this increasing cost, the government introduced a new tariff, an increased tariff.
Yes.
So for the end users, the
Yes.
consumers, it's their monthly bill,
Yes.
the amount they consume and amount they have to pay.
And they still consume the same amount.
Yes.
Right? So they have to pay more. And now there's all these things about how if you use 60 units, the rates are different. If you could tell us a little bit about how you basically you have your energy consumption, and there is a certain level of energy consumption that a family has. So it's very difficult to reduce that, because I think people have reduced it as much as possible. And as we were discussing, there are little things you can do. But how far do these little things go?
Yeah, actually the electricity bill and the amount increased. Different consumers feel in a different way.
Yes.
Some can afford to pay,
Yes.
so they consume they don't reduce.
Yes.
So, but certain segments in the society, they cannot afford to pay the increasing cost,
Yes.
because their income level is not improving. So because of that reason, even last year there was a price increase. During that period, the government conducted a massive energy conservation awareness program. So the consumers who were consuming less than 90 units per month
Okay.
tried to reduce their consumption,
But
so
not-
they reduced.
Okay. Okay.
As a whole, consumers who were consuming less than 90 units per month, they reduced their consumption using the available energy conservation measures.
Okay.
And we are not compromising our comfort. We just get the same comfort with using less energy.
Okay.
But now they have done that, so they cannot do it again.
Exactly.
They cannot further use. So because of that reason, government intervened, and now there will be no price increase for consumers consuming less than 60 units per month. So as they have reached their maximum
Limit,
point,
yes.
maximum, they cannot reduce.
So from a
more.
national perspective, what kind of effect can this have, especially like you said, for those people who utilize more than 90 units? On a national level, does this really contribute to conservation of energy, or does it just contribute to being cost effective?
Yeah, now different segments, consumer categories, consumer blocks, they consume in different quantities, and the increase is not the same.
Yes.
So what is crucial is from 60 to 180 units per month.
Okay.
That's the low middle income group. So
that's a family of, let's say, 4 5.
Yes,
That's
yes,
what
yes,
they
yeah,
consume.
yeah.
90
And
to
their
100.
income level is somewhat. They are depending on the monthly wages and all that.
Okay.
So if it's not increased, they cannot pay more. So that segment is very sensitive.
Okay.
But this particular tariff increase.
So that's 90